cold old day today, grey, mizzly, so I'm going to spend the time actually potting on some of my small Golden Acre seedlings. They've started to develop true leaves, so I'm happy that they're ready to be moved into a bigger pot where they'll stay for about 4 to 5 weeks before I'm ready to harden them off and then plant them out. So all I've done is filled some pots with sieved compost, and now all I'm going to do is prick them out, plant them, water them, and keep them in the greenhouse still. They're not ready to go out yet, so I should keep them in the greenhouse until the weather's warmed up a little bit, but they've also established themselves a bit more. Now, as hopefully you can see, they've started to develop true leaves, so that's why I decided it's okay to pot them on. These heart-shaped leaves are just the seed leaves. So I've potted on 8, and that'll do me for now, because I don't want all my cabbages ready at the same time. Now, I know I grew a lot more seeds, but as I said, I can give them away, and they can stay where they are for the moment, the smaller ones, just getting a bit bigger, just in case some of these don't make it, because there is no guarantee when you're transplanting that they will just carry on growing. But what I have done, and I think it's important that I tell you, is I've planted these a bit deeper than they were, so I buried a lot more of the stalk. Now, brassicas are very tolerant of that, and it helps them grow stronger, so I always plant them deeper, in the hope that we get some nice cabbages in a couple of months' time. So I'm just going to tease these apart very gently, and these are Greyhound cabbages, and pot them on. Only going to do 8, because that's all I need. You can see these are the pots I spoke to you about a few weeks ago, how easy it is to pop out the individual cells. Now there's one last thing to do, which is really important, and that is to make sure that they all get the label. Now these are Greyhound, so I've just written grey on each label, which will be enough for me to be able to identify what they are when they get bigger, because as I've said before, cabbage seedlings all look exactly the same. Something else I'm going to plant today is broad beans. But whenever I start broad beans off, I start them off in root trainers. So a long, deep plant cell that just snaps closed and open. Now when I'm filling them, I don't want to initially fill them all the way up, because I need to get the bean seed in, and as you know, broad seed beans are quite large. Now other people will grow these in different ways, but this was the way my granddad showed me. He didn't have root trainers. He used to make his own using newspaper, which you can still do, and people still do that today. The only difference being with root trainers is you have to take the plant out. With the newspaper, you just plant it in its own tube, because the newspaper will rot away in the soil. Now I've got them in, so now I'm going to plant my broad beans. Now something I was also taught was when you sow broad beans, or runner beans for that matter, is you always sow them on their side, and that allows any excess water to run away. If you sow them laying down, they're actually sitting in the water, and it increases the likelihood of rot. Now I plant these probably 2-3 centimeters deep, just one to a cell, and I just think broad beans are amazing plants because they grow quick, they support themselves very well, and I think in part that is down to the fact they have square stems, which is quite unusual. Now just make sure you firm down the soil and give them a good tap, because we want that soil to make contact with the bean. Now, because these are in root trainers, one of the things I will be doing is top watering once I've finished these, but it's the only time they will get top watered until they're actually planted out. So the next most important thing, of course, although the plants are unmistakable, is to make sure that you give it a label. Now just give them water, keep them in the greenhouse. Germination probably 2 weeks. The first thing you tend to see is a slight mound in the soil before they break surface, but I like broad beans so I don't freeze them. I use them while they're fresh. I don't let them get too big. Another seed I'm going to sow today is my cauliflowers. So this is all year round. And again, I'm going to start it in my modules with the little pop out bottoms. And probably going to plant 3 to 4 seeds in each station, about a half a centimetre deep, not much more than that. But again, these are tiny seeds, and when you've got eyesight like mine, the same trick as I showed you before, using the piece of folded card and just pushing the seeds into each planting hole, makes it a little bit easier, unless you miss like I just did. Make sure the compost covers all the seeds. Give it a gentle tap, but again, most importantly, make sure you put a label on them, because this time of year when we've got lots of seeds going on, it's very easy to forget what's what. Again, I don't top water. They're now going to a seed tray with water in the bottom, and they can draw up what they need. And hopefully in 3, maybe 4 weeks time, I'll actually be in a position to prick them out and pot them on. I've also got parsnips and carrots to sow, but both of those need sowing direct. Carrots and parsnips do not transplant. They grow tap roots, and if you want to start them in the cover of a greenhouse, grow them in toilet roll tubes to start them and then put them out. But what I actually do is start my parsnips at home, and I chit the seeds first. So I just plant them, or lay them should I say, on a piece of damp kitchen roll and put them somewhere warm, and wait to see the tiny white roots appear. Once those white roots appear, then I can plant them where I want them to go. Because parsnip seed is notoriously difficult for getting to germinate. And when I plant these out without the chitin on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, I will show you the method that my granddad taught me, and he called it planking. I won't say any more at the moment, and I'll show you Wednesday, hopefully, subject to the weather, of exactly what I mean. I'm going to grow some onion seeds. Not globe onions, but this particular one here, I don't know how well you can see it, it's called Zebrune, or a banana shallot, some people refer to it. A lovely onion, fantastic in salads, and I'm led to believe it's used a lot by chefs. Now these seeds are tiny, like all onion seed. So I don't put these in little stations. What I actually do is just sprinkle them over the top of the compost, just by rubbing my finger and thumb together. Making sure that they're fairly well spread. And then just add a little more compost on the top. Not a lot, just enough to cover. Then I'm just going to firm it down with my hand. A few little ones missed there. Make sure I give it a label and then water them. And hopefully in a few weeks they'll start to pop up. Now they'll stay in this pot or this tray for probably 6 weeks or more, and then I will plant them directly into their final growing position. And I think they are fantastic, as I say, in a salad. So it's called Zebrune. So it's as simple as that. So a successful day sowing and transplanting. So I've now got cauliflowers, Zebrune, banana shallots, transplanted my cabbages, sowed the broad beans, and the onion sets are almost ready to be transplanted out. And even Shadow has come to check things out to make sure I'm doing it properly, of course.